Hey everybody, just giving a little bit of an update and wishing everybody a happy new year and belated holiday greeting. I've been gone for a bit and I was just going to talk a little bit about what I've been up to and the reasons for that. But what you see in front of you here is the future Heresy lounge. I've talked a little bit about my problems in my hobby room and how I've been renovating the basement. I'm using my camera as well that I've used for many years, my Sony Handycam, and don't remember the model number, but I've got an update regarding that as well, and just some changes and things that are going to be going on with the channel. Now, for those of you that are really long-time subscribers that have been part of the channel since I did the Wrath of a Chardalon D&D board game series where I painted a couple miniatures every week, and I used to have a desk that was roughly right here in this room, which is different than the hobby room that I have now. And basically this room was a multi-purpose room where I had storage over here and I had lots of fish tanks along the wall here, and literally from the original owners of this house, this wall was, it had two big pass-throughs with shutters, so it wasn't even really a wall. It had two huge, I would say probably 4 foot by 3 foot holes in the wall. And so I had some foundation issues that had to be repaired in my basement, which led to lots of sheetrock being pulled out, new windows being installed, which is what, sorry for the echo, this is just an empty room here, as you can see. But I ended up having so much work in the basement that it made sense that we just sort of considered doing some improvements at the same time. And so my wife suggested, since outside of watching movies in the sort of main area with my kids, really I'm the one that uses the basement the most. And so with my hobby room, my current hobby room, and we had to rip all this storage out here in order to get access to concrete. And right before the holiday, we had some folks come in and actually repair all the drywall in the basement that were just destroyed. And since then, I've been doing painting over the holidays, so I haven't been hobbying. I've been painting in here, and sorry for I've got a lot of crazy sunlight coming in now in this room, and this old camera is not able to adjust very easily to direct sunlight. But essentially, I'm going to just come this way and show the room this way here. Essentially, this room is going to be the new Heresy room, and it's actually quite a bit bigger than the current hobby room. And really quick, I'll just give you show you some dirty laundry. Not something I'm proud of here, but because of the basement being totally renovated, my hobby space, which this room you're probably familiar with a little bit if you watch the channel, I have all of this stuff that has nothing to do with my hobby, just stuff everywhere in here, a workspace just to be able to actually have a spot to put something. And so this place I've just not been able to work in, really, to be honest. I tried for a month or two when this stuff started happening, and I've done some of the Musty Wargamer shows in here, but I've just found that I just can't even work in here. It's like a stress to even be in here. And so that's one of the reasons why my videos have really slowed on the channel, is just a lot of disruption in the house. And then recently, just some of the renovation that I'm doing myself, just to sort of tidy off the work that's been happening. And so you can see this is like my actual basement, which is a bit of a work site right now. But this wall is the opposite wall of the hobby room that I just had, and we just kind of finished painting. To this morning, I'm getting ready to put flooring in right there, so I wanted to do a video before I put the flooring in. This is mostly flooring that I had at a little recreational property that we have that I had left over from when we put flooring in there, and I just supplemented it with a few more boxes. And we're going to be replacing carpets throughout the whole basement, but it's going to be sort of like a vinyl, fake hardwood kind of flooring in here that I'm going to be using, just because I've always had carpets in the basement in my hobby rooms, and I hate having carpets in a hobby room because if you spill paint or anything happens, it's just inviting disaster. And so this is why I've totally been kind of absent, and so the focus really is getting the hobby space back to where I want it, and then then I'll start hobbying again. I've just purely stopped hobbying during this process. Having said that, and I do apologize for the echo, I don't know how this is going to come out on video, but it'd probably be weird. I have 2 updates. On New Year's, I did play Zombicide and with the family, and I'm just trying to focus here with all this light coming through the window. And we actually opened up the Zombicide Wolfsburg. I've had this since my birthday last year, beginning of the year, and really enjoyed it. Like, everybody liked it. Really enjoyed adding the new characters, but even more so the wolves that come with this, you know, the wolf zombies, and then all of the new magical items and things like that. For Christmas, I did receive 2 boxes of stuff from Massive Darkness, Elementals and the Reptisaurians. We haven't started playing Massive Darkness yet, but I've just been gearing up, and there were some things on, I don't know if, I just basically asked for the stuff because I had a feeling I was going to like the game. We really enjoyed Zombicide, and this is our next thing to get into. And then there's another little box there that I picked up myself that adds some extra characters and the Cockatrix monster. And so, yeah, so that's like the next things for that. We're really enjoying those games as a family, and so really we get everybody into it. And we played till 11:55 right before New Year's, and that was a lot of fun. For Christmas, I did get a new camera. And I'm going to step out here because this echo is driving me nuts. But I've used a Sony Handycam for the longest time for the channel, and the one I'm using right now to shoot this, and I really, really like it. I have an SLR or DSLR or whatever, the regular fixed lens camera, Canon, and you know, I could use that, and I've used it for pictures at times. I know most that YouTube seem to like to use those cameras over camcorders, but I have to be honest, I've really always loved my Sony Handycam, and I've always been able to, one of the reasons why it seems like people really like them, besides being able to change your lenses and get really good lenses for the other cameras, and I understand that, is the ability to kind of blur the background and focus on the person, have more control over focus. With the Sony Handycam, I've been able to, particularly with miniature displays, when I have it going around and around, I've been able to manually set the focus and blur the background or keep things in focus at a certain point. However I like, I can manually adjust on my Sony Handycam. And I've always really liked it. I've always been able to get really close in on the miniature. I found that its focus at really close up has been always really good. And I've just noticed over the last year that because I've had this Handycam now, probably for 6 years, maybe a little more, I've just noticed that I'm starting to maybe hear it a little more, like on the back of the videos, like just a recording sound. And I just don't know, it seemed to me like it was kind of perhaps getting a little aged, a little dated. It still works well, and it is, like I said, the one that I'm using here. But I decided I wanted to do an upgrade, and because I'm so happy with my Sony Handycam, I wanted to actually get another one. And this one is quite a bit bigger, like physically bigger than the other one I have. It has some features, like that. I can't really do this with one hand, but if you actually see here, there's a lid here where you can put what they call a boot, like a regular camera. And so if you wanted to put a mic or some extra additional attachments, you can do that. And I'm just going to go in the light here for a second. And so one of the things that really sold this model for me, though, is that, just flipping this open here, this has a lens that moves. See if I get the best way I can show this. Inside here, this has a suspension system for this Handycam, and basically I was thinking for battle reports to try to reduce shaky camera, this is supposed to really help. And it has some other great features. I have tested it out and it works great. I do believe at first looking at it that the picture quality is better on this, and it is a more expensive camera. It's a step up from what I have. So I would expect that, but I also find picture quality is something that I sometimes have a hard time comparing it to unless I do a really strict side-by-side comparison. And I'm just going on initial observation. It seemed like it was better. This thing kind of slides in here, which is a nice feature of all the Sony Handycams that I've had. It's just basically a little way you can connect it to the computer or recharge it without having to go find a cord. It's all set to go. Yeah, so basically I'll be playing around with this. Back to the crazy echoing. I do have some plans to have some changes in 2019 for the channel. You know, besides going back to where the original space was for the channel and having the whole space dedicated to it, I am planning on doing a little bit more paint and chats and sort of like painting tutorial style vids or paint and chats, where I'm actually investing a little bit more in a better setup to paint on camera for various purposes, you know, not for one type of video, but just for various purposes to be able to paint on camera. That Woodland Indian video that I did in last year was a fun sort of exercise to try to do that with my current setup, and as much as I was sort of happy with the results, I saw room for improvement in the way I was able to do the video, and so I'll be investing a little bit more in a couple of things in addition to this camera, which I think will help. Yeah, and so I hope everybody's had a really nice holiday season. I have to say, I stayed at home, and even though I was working and painting the basement and doing things, I really enjoyed it. It was kind of fun. Sometimes work can be fun, just to do that stuff and renovation and stuff. And I'm actually looking forward to laying some flooring today. That's what I'll be doing all day today. And I am going to dip out to the hobby store really quick just to get some sleeves for my Massive Darkness cards. I have this aversion to using the cards without sleeves in it now that I've done it for Zombicide. I don't want to destroy the cards. And so I'm going to be doing that and working on flooring today, and then actually staining some baseboards and installing baseboards. And then tomorrow I'm going to be painting the rest of the basement, the old hobby room, moving everything out of there into here once the flooring's in here, finishing up some last minute painting areas that we weren't able to get to, and then I'll be pretty close to eventually setting up the hobby room. So I hope everybody else is having a great new year so far and enjoying perhaps thinking about new projects or starting new projects, perhaps starting to pull out Christmas loot and using that and enjoying that for your hobby. And I will talk to you guys later. Take care.